Ready to find the job of your dreams in 2020? Well, you're going to need to know what skills are in demand now. And it turns out that soft skills or interpersonal skills are actually more valuable than technical skills or hard skills. In this video, I'm giving you the top 5 soft skills that companies are looking for in 2020. Sit down, smash that like button, and watch this video all the way to the end. This might be the most important video you've seen this decade. Darren DeLuca here, and welcome to the Ramblin' Recruiter, the channel that's dedicated to helping you find the job of your dreams and make the most of your career. I've been a recruiter for 2 decades now, and in 20 years, I've learned a thing or two about hiring and getting hired. Now I'm here to share what I know with you. If that sounds good, subscribe and click the bell to enable notifications so you never miss another video again. Please consider becoming a supporter of this channel via PayPal or Patreon. Links are below in the description. A big part of finding that dream job is demonstrating to companies that you have the skills that they need. Turns out soft skills or interpersonal skills are more important than technical skills, and that makes sense. Here's why. Technical skills can be trained. I can always teach someone how to be a recruiter. I can't teach them how to be a decent human being. A French-trained chef can teach you how to make a delicious remoulade, but a French-trained chef cannot teach you integrity. These are personality traits that are intrinsic in the individual. They're not necessarily something that can be trained. In fact, there's some studies out there that suggest that all white-collar office work is so similar that anybody could learn any job in their office within 6 months. Intrinsic personality traits, however, cannot be learned. You either have them or you don't. Now, they can be strengthened. They can be exercised over time. They can be improved. Now, soft skills are a very big, broad category, and when you're thinking about what skills you want to demonstrate both on your resume and in the answers you give on a job interview, it's important to know what the important skills are. These are the top 5 of 2020. Before we jump into these 5, I want to call your attention to resume exposure. If you're struggling with your job search and you want to get your resume out there in front of thousands of recruiters, resume exposure gives you that opportunity for one low price. It is an amazing tool that's like pouring high-octane rocket fuel on your job search. I highly recommend resume exposure. Link is below in the description. Soft skill number 1 for 2020 is creativity. Creativity was also number 1 on the list in 2019. It's totally unchanged, and it is an incredibly important skill. I'm not necessarily talking about you're a creative, you can draw, you can paint, etc. I'm talking about your thinking, your ability to think through problems, think differently, and see things for what they are and what they could be. Creativity gives you the ability to think through a problem and find a better solution. Problem solving is an enormous skill in companies these days, and your creativeness will help you solve those problems without being constrained by process or procedure. The best way to train yourself on this kind of creativity is to ask why. The why is the most important part. Are you doing something just because that's always the way you've done it, or are you doing something because that is in fact the most efficient way to do it? So any process, any procedure that you've got at work, at school, ask yourself, why am I doing it this way, and is there a better way? Soft skill number 2 is persuasion. Persuasion is also unchanged from its number 2 spot in 2019, and it is a critically important skill in 2020. Companies are flatter today than they ever have been. If you think back to companies of the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and even early 2000s, there were many more additional layers of management. Today, companies are flatter than they've ever been. You have individual contributors reporting directly to senior leadership. What does that mean? That means that you have to be able to be persuasive, to get people to climb on board the bus with you, to pitch an idea and to sell it persuasively enough to convince others that it is in fact the best course of action. You will also hear persuasion referred to as cross-functional leadership. In other words, leadership without direct managerial authority. And that's what it all boils down to. If you don't have the authority to tell somebody to do something, you need to persuade them to do it. You need to make them see the benefit of it and make them want to do it. Now, there are countless references and resources out there on how to be more persuasive, but the best one of all, hands down, a life-changing book that is absolutely required reading for all salespeople and will make anybody's career and personal life better, is the 1937 book by Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. This book is very old and it is still very, very relevant. Everyone who reads it agrees it is life-changing. There's a link down below in the description to a free trial of Kindle Unlimited. I suggest you sign up for the 30-day free trial. Download the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, then cancel the membership and pay nothing. Soft skill number 3 is collaboration. Now, it should go without saying that being able to play nice in the sandbox with others is a skill that is an absolute must-have in business. Gone are the days where brilliant jerks or techno whizzes who had zero interpersonal skills could be tolerated. Again, companies are flatter today than they ever have been. They're also leaner today than ever they have been before. They've got less employees. That means that you just don't have the space or the bandwidth to put somebody in a corner who's a techno whiz but can't interact with people. Jerks and nerds, and I mean nerds in the nicest way possible, but nevertheless, people who really lack interpersonal skills are just not tolerated anymore like they used to be in the past. So the ability to collaborate is absolutely essential. A great place to find employees who are outstanding at collaboration are veterans of the United States military. These individuals work with some of the most diverse teams you will ever encounter, people from every walk of life, from every socioeconomic background, from every religion, and they have to work together to achieve a common goal. Hey, have you smashed that like button yet? If you like what you're hearing so far, please do, but don't leave yet. The 2 most important soft skills are yet to be discussed. Soft skill number 4 is adaptability. The one constant in life and in business, the one thing that never changes, is that change is constant. Companies are going through constant reorganization, downsizing, upsizing, right-sizing, mergers and acquisitions, pivots in strategic overview. They are constantly in a state of flux. Your ability to go with the flow and embrace change as a positive is going to set you apart from the rest of your peers. Most people deeply fear change. They resist change. They don't like change. If you can climb above that and go with the flow and see change as a good thing, you will be way ahead of your peer group. A good mantra to keep repeating to yourself when changes are happening and things are uncomfortable is this: without change, a flower would still be a seed. Soft skill number 5, and new to the list for this year, is emotional intelligence. Now, if you don't know what emotional intelligence is, it is your ability to read the room, to sense and perceive the emotions and reactions of those around you. Emotional intelligence is an absolute essential skill for people leaders in 2020. Gone are the days where the executive committee sits in the boardroom and they issue edicts from on high, and the little worker bees have to execute on those edicts regardless of how it impacts them. It just won't work anymore. The job market is too strong, and if people are unhappy, they will leave and go to other jobs. So the ability to sense how what you are saying is making other people think and feel is an absolutely critical skill. Emotional intelligence, or EQ as it's referred to, can be learned. Some will obviously excel at it while others will have more difficulty with it. But the more you can empathize with people, the better you will be at this skill. If you are a leader of people and you're trying to upgrade your emotional intelligence, remember this: seek to first understand, then to be understood. So, now that you've got these top 5 soft skills of 2020, what are you going to do with them? Well, I have a few suggestions. Number one, go back to your resume and make some changes. Think about the bullet points and the accomplishments that you've got on your resume. Now, how can you tweak them to demonstrate one or more of these 5 skills? Knowing that they're critically important to employers, knowing even that they're more important than your technical abilities, how are you going to bolster those bullet points on your resume to demonstrate collaboration, emotional intelligence, creativity? Think through it. It will be the thing that sets your resume apart from all the others in that pile. Number 2, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, practice, practice. So practice answering some of the common interview questions that you get by incorporating examples of how you've demonstrated these 5 skills. Now, if you need assistance with what should be on your resume, I'll link to a video up here about different things to include on your resume and how to formulate some of those accomplishments. If you need assistance with answering interview questions, I've got a whole playlist on interview questions and answers that I'll include below in the pinned comment. I will also link to my video on behavioral-based interviews up here, so check it out. Okay, behavioral-based interviewing is the gold standard at 99% of companies out there, and if you don't know what you're getting yourself into, you won't be able to put together a great answer that demonstrates these 5 soft skills. Soft skills are very, very important, but they're not the whole picture. Next week, I'm gonna be back with the top 5 hard skills or technical abilities of 2020. So make sure you check back next week. Check out the video that's down below here. That's the one YouTube thinks that you're going to like the best. I've also linked to my interview tips playlist. It should be over here any second now. As always, thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your job searching day. Stay classy, YouTube. See you next week.